Do you struggle with the top tier grind with today's sponsor, 3GE for War Thunder? You might be able to make it a little bit easier. All you need to do is click the link in the description, download the app, complete some simple task and you'll get some small amounts of golden eagles. Now if you sign up with my promo code EPGEK, not only will you get 10 GE upon signing in, but every GE that you guys earn, I will get as well, that I will be able to give away again in huge batches a few times every year. Welcome back, and today we're playing out the J35XS. Now this thing has been requested quite a bit, especially due to the new sails and the flight model changing, as well as the fact that now it's actually somewhat flyable because you don't see F-14s every game anymore. Because there's one glaring issue with this vehicle, and that's defensively. This thing has essentially nothing. You only have 12 countermeasures, which is enough to flare maybe 2 or 3 Aim-9Ms, and of course you don't have RWR. Meaning that it's very hard to deal with radar missiles, so the F-14 really just ruined this entire plane. Right now, it is still kind of annoying to go up against the MiG-23s with the R-24s, as well as the FRS horde that is kind of unleashed with the new sails going out. So you will see like 4 of them every match, and if you do go about it wrong, they will just slap you straight out of the air. It is, however, quite a bit more flyable, and due to the fact that right now there's a lot of premium players around, you will find yourself with some pretty decent success. Because overall, this plane is lacking in some departments. Now the nice thing is that you have 6 missiles, you do have some countermeasures, but you only have 1 gun in terms of offensive armament. And it doesn't really hit all that hard. Very often you will find that you will get 1, 2, maybe 3 hits on a guy, and he is still not gonna be dead, especially when you're shooting something like a Phantom. But overall, the armament is okay. The main issue is that you just don't have any radar missile presence. Together with the fact that you don't really have strong IR missiles, the Aim-9Js are okay. And when people keep their afterburner on, it will go through the flares, but they're not IRCCM, they are not all aspect, and they don't have a lot of range. And with this combination, it basically means you have to sneak up on people. The issue is that you can't really go high because you don't have RWR and you don't have the countermeasures to deal with the non-pulse Doppler radars. And at the same time, if you go low, you can't really kill anyone because you only have 130 mil. It doesn't really have a lot of volume, and you can't shoot anyone in the head-on with missiles because, well, if you get an Aim-9J off in the head-on, they're just gonna flare it, and you don't have a radar missile, so you can't really go anywhere. So you kind of get into this limbo where whatever you do, you're gonna be at a disadvantage. But I found that it actually works out decently well to get a little bit of altitude. Most of the Fox 1 slingers at this BR are all lawn mowing. So I find myself at about 5,500 meters, just to make sure that I don't have a contrail, but I'm just high enough to dive on people. And when you can dive on people, you can come from the blind spot, which means that you will get a decent amount of kills. Basically every match that I play like this starts exactly like this. I come in from a little bit higher altitude, I drop an Aim-9J, especially on a map like Afghanistan where the range is a little bit increased due to the less thick air. We get a pretty easy kill, and straight out of the gate, we have already got the uppy for the rest of the match. It doesn't really matter if you get 1, 2, 3, 4. Of course, 4 will get you a bit more uppy, but after you get 1 kill, you are already effectively grinding, and you're already doing more than your average teammate. Now, it is important to note that, well, this thing is a Delta Wing. It is a Dorito, it's super maneuverable, quote unquote. It's still kind of lacking in the flight performance department. The acceleration isn't fantastic, and the speed bleed is kind of excessive while not having the most maneuverability anymore. This plane has been nerfed a little bit a while ago. I think it's over a year now. And overall, it bleeds a lot of speed and it doesn't actually turn that fantastically. Now, it does pull quite a bit of AOA. And in terms of reversal, this MiG-23 is 100% going to catch me. He's faster than me, especially at these higher altitudes. So I'm gonna pull him away from the F5 and start turning in. Now once he starts getting at about 3 kilometers, we're going to turn the afterburner off just to reduce the heat signature a little bit. And then we are going to pre-flare so that he can lock onto me with his R60. So we go up over his nose, we go straight up, speed bleed out of the wazoo, we go up and over, we drain our own balls, and because of that we instantly get a gun solution. Now luckily we absolutely turned that plane inside out, because if we hadn't, guess what? He completely mugs us in the prolonged fight. The J35XS is all about getting that 1-2 turn in, hoping you kill them and that you don't get a hit. Because this plane is all about going all in, and it really doesn't have any endurance whatsoever. which means that you kind of just have to go all in. Going for the 2, maybe 3 kill mark in this thing is, I think, the best way to play it. If you play it too conservatively, you're just going to get nothing done. And in this map, we are on enduring confrontation, and I'm actually not going to cut anything out, because on this plane, the positioning is actually pretty important. If you get into like a 1v2, it is essentially over, and it's really all about prioritizing your targets and knowing where to be. Now, it is a little bit of luck as well, because sitting at this kind of altitude, if the FRS that's on the left over there just pitches into me and decides I need to die, then, well, I kind of just do. Now, I can, of course, barrel roll the Aim-7F, but with a plane like this, I'm just not a big fan of it. It doesn't feel super responsive at higher speeds. It works, but it's all about the positioning and just making sure that you don't have to do such a thing. FRS going near to the right to the bombing point, so I'm cutting him over a little bit. MiG-23 coming in from the left. I instantly go directly at him. I don't want to end up in front of him. I'm trying to make it so that he has to turn further around if he does want to turn around. And he doesn't. He breaks off. FRS coming in from the left side as well. And this one just starts going into a bit of a flat turn. But because we're so fast right now, we will actually lock up a little bit. Which means that I can simply just kind of turn after him. Now I am tapping the negative elevator with my keyboard to just conserve a little bit more speed. And then once I notice that I'm really gaining on this guy, I'm going to slam the elevator. And we get a pretty easy shot. But this guy is of course loaded with bombs, which is going to be a lot of the FRSs you run into. They kind of make for easy kills. They aren't the most fun to fight, but they are going to make up a big portion of your enemies. The FRS on the left is now running away to the base, and the F4EJ is now also kind of going for the base. So I think to myself, well, I'm going to use these mountains as cover, and then we try to cut him off and get directly behind him. But we can tell that he is turning by the little wing vapors, so I'm going to try to stay behind this little mountain. And I'm going to use it for cover, because at this point I am not sure if this is an EPGEK. But of course that's not possible anymore, and I have early onset dementia, because we can't see that anymore since it's 12.3 now and we are 11.0. So we just kind of go over his nose, we get a shot here, but he rolls out of the way. One gun really doesn't have any volume, and I know the FRS could have turned around, but at this point I want to risk it. Unfortunately, I just miss all my ammo. So we are going to try and shoot off an Aim-9J. He is going to flare it, and because he's in the clouds, it's not going to be tracking whatsoever. Yes, he flared it, but normally with an F4, when they are that slow with the afterburners on, the missile just goes straight through it. In this case, however, it did not. FRS, however, does have pulse Doppler. We don't have to have dementia for that one. So we are just going to use this terrain a little bit, go underneath him, make sure that we don't get Aim-7F'd. And then we start chasing the EJ, because I have a feeling, due to the way that this EJ is flying, that he is going to turn around the second I go for the FRS. And the FRS is a bit of a bomber guy. He's trying to get his RP in. So I feel like he's slightly less of a threat. Even though the EJ is less of a threat in terms of a plane, the EJ is just showing more signs of an active player. So I will decide to chase this guy down. As I already have this guy 6, the FRS behind me is going decently slow. And I know that I can catch him in this kind of matchup. I just need a little bit more acceleration, and I'm constantly moving around to dodge the terrain, because I don't want to get Aim-7F'd from behind. Now after we clear this little crest, we're going to start diving. And we should be able to reel him in relatively quickly. Now I'm going to pop a anti-blind hunt basically, so that when my last friendlies die, I don't get a massive beacon on my ass. So for now, we just straight line this. We are going to catch him. He is now diving to the bombing base. And in hindsight, I probably should have just gone for the FRS, but you know, we have made a decision and we're now stuck with it. He should be about 8 kilometers behind us, so I do have a little bit of time. He's diving here, make sure that I don't get bombed. And he goes straight vertical. He probably doesn't see me. I do see his afterburner. We lock him up. We should have a bit of time here. As I said, he is 8 kilometers roughly behind us. He's going to gain fast now. Shoot all around him. Then we pack him with some 30 mils directly up his asshole. And we now want to make sure that we get to the deck as fast as possible. But I do want to dive away slightly, just to increase the gap a little bit. Give me more time to pick up some speed. And we are now looking at the clouds to make sure where the FRS is. I see a bit of a crest here. We're going to sit behind it yet again. Of course, an absolute mountain over here that we would find in Limburg. I'm not sure where he is exactly. And then there it is. Missile on the right. We go low. We multi-pad it. And the FRS is going to merge with us. We make sure to go underneath him. We pitch up over and into him. And we should get the first shot again, because we are the J35. Now he can simply just run away, because we're only going 400 kilometers an hour. And that's what he is gonna do. But he's stuck a little bit too long and he basically gives me direct 6. So I'm just gonna be rippling these missiles off so that I can get him to turn. But he doesn't flare the first one and he just ends up eating shit with the very first one I launch. And there you have it. We now go RTB, we go land, and we take off versus another FRS and A10C, which of course has Aim-9Ms. So here I decide to go around the little mountain again, just to make sure that he can't missile us and that we might be able to sneak up on him. So we get spotted at about 5 kilometers, I think. We start cutting him off. He does see us last second, but I have a pretty good engagement here because he is going not too fast. He didn't turn until a little bit later, same as here. I'm trying to maintain my energy so I can actually turn behind him. He does the same thing, but this is going to end up in a head-on, so I'm actually going to turn away from him. So it has to take him a little bit longer to actually get the shot on. Then we turn up and over, and if he follows this, well, I'm again going to get the first shot. Now the thing is that I still need to be able to hit this, and the one gun on the right really isn't helping my case. Underlead everything, but because it's an FRS, I might be able to get the shot here. This guy is going to try to dive away instead of continuing the turn into one direction, where he might actually be able to outrun me, or might be able to outrate me even. But in this case, he is not going to do that, and I'm just going to start shooting these missiles at him. Yes, he might flare them, but I don't really care, because, well, it's an afterburning Phantom that's going pretty slow. And secondly, I still have 6 missiles. There's 2 enemies. One of them is an A10C, so I'd rather just shoot as many of these missiles off as possible. Gets rid of a little bit of weight, but I do want some in case that they come in handy. And then my friendly dies to an Aim-9M. And I can't really fault them if you don't really run into these things very often. They're kind of hard to flare, especially if you don't set up correctly. But I feel pretty confident that I can deal with an A10C on its own. The thing is, I do want to use the terrain yet again. And luckily for us, Mr. Albanian in the chat here has popped the blind hunt a little bit ago and it helped me with the FRS and is now also going to help me with the A10C. Have a little bit of a quick peek. He does have quite a bit of experience in air and he knows roughly where I am. He sees that I killed the F4S and he's instantly coming over here. So for now I'm actually going to go to the right a little bit, and this is not to go around on the right. I just wanted for him to take longer until I am there so I can use this crest right here to pop on over the second we arrive, because I don't want to deal with Aim-9Ms when I only have 12 flares. I know that he shot 1 off, but he still might have 3 left. So I go low here, try to stay out of sight as long as possible, and then all I really need to do is just maintain this turning circle. Sit behind him, don't be too aggressive, don't turn in front of him, and this guy is gonna do exactly nothing. We almost get the shot here. Now he is almost falling out of the air, just a little bit too little lead, don't have the ability to pull the nose around enough, but at this point I'm quite firmly planted behind him. He's gonna turn out, he's gonna try to disengage and run away, which is I think the worst thing he could have done, because now I get a pure 6 solution. I can start rippling these missiles off. They're probably not gonna hit, but you know, I just want at least 2 or 3 gone, but at this point he is dead. So you know, at this point, it's an A10C, I'm on at 6. The worst part is getting past the head-on. Your second, you get past it. And this guy is gonna do absolutely nothing. A10 get disintegrated. Of course, the first hit only sets his engine on fire. And then we disassemble his plane. And there you have it. Thank you all for watching. Rewards will be on the screen. And you will see me all in the next one.